Okay, let's do this again.
All right, let's go.
Hello, Elvin.
Hello, good to be here.
Hi. Hi. I'm Howard. Podcast is Talking Bollocks. I also sing in Acid Rain. We've been around since 1989. Very much thrash metal. And funnily enough, we've got a new album coming out as well.
Amazing.
In May. So yours is coming out in April, isn't it?
No, it's May. It's May
It is
8th.
May.
Yeah,
What date?
8th.
Oh, well done. Because if it's coming out, ours is coming out on the 15th. So we've given each other a bit of room there. That's nice.
A whole week.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Well, our album is called Days of the Week, so there you go. That's perfect.
That's great.
Um, I'm interested. Before we get any deeper into all the rest of it, I'm interested in your surname because that does not look very Swedish to me. Which is it Sismada?
Yeah, Csizmadia. Yeah, that's Hungarian
Beautiful.
actually.
Oh, right. Okay. That's yeah, that's just because looking, I was like, okay, is that Eastern Europe or is that South American?
Yeah. No, it's from my mom's dad who was Hungarian. And I have a lot of different heritages, but that's that name. Yeah.
Right. Cool. Cool. So my history with your band is I got the first album because also one of my favorite all-time bands are the Desendents, spelt differently, obviously. But when I saw it, it was like, okay, a thrash band had released an album called Descendants. I've kind of got to listen to this. So I get a lot of stuff in my inbox, and I try and give most things. If it sounds like it's something I'm going to like, I'm going to give them a listen. I gave your album a listen, and I think I probably skimmed it. Well, and I listened to it a couple of times. I was like, yeah, okay, yeah, it's not bad. And then for some reason, it kind of stuck in my mind, and I came back to it about 2 months later, and it really resonated with me. I was like, okay, right, okay, yeah, no, I get this. I really get this. Um, the reason for that is I think on first listen I was like, okay, yeah, I like this sounds like classic thrash, and I think I kind of dismissed it a little. But then because it stuck in my mind and I went back to it, um, I realized that this was not like a bunch of guys who's formed a thrash band and want to play music like Slayer and Metallica and stuff like that. It's like no, this is better than that. There's something I have never been able to put my finger on it until now when I dug into your biography and found that you guys had been in a band before and that's where you'd all met. So tell me how that happened.
Right. Yeah, we played together for ages actually. Like I'm turning 26 in April
Oh
and
wow, sorry to hear that, dude. It's downhill from here. It's downhill from here on, mate.
right. And um three of us, the two
Oh, hang
brothers,
on. Sorry, got
yeah,
to interrupt again. What day in April? Because we've done the release dates. What day in April?
April 30th.
Okay. Well, I
Yeah.
turn 56 on April 15th.
All right, we're doing a lot of like
Yeah, I know.
synchronizing stuff here.
This is weird. So, well, basically, what I'm saying is you got 30 more years of this shit. So, don't worry.
Let's go. Yeah. So, well, three of us, me and the two brothers, the guitarist and bass player, we've been playing together since I was 12. So that's
Wow.
more than half my life by now. And we met because they started at my school. And uh, yeah, they already had a band then, different drummer, different singer. And they recruited me. Ragnar, the guitarist, he yeah, was like, "Hey, do you want to play with us? We need a second guitarist." And I was like, "Sure." And I was already in a rock band that I had started with my friends 2 years earlier when we were 10 years old. And
Wow.
yeah, so I had already like had a little bit of experience with like playing. rock music and performing. And so I joined. I was just supposed to play like one song, but then like kind of um, the singer at the time, like I don't know, we kind of like didn't show up to rehearsals, and he had a lot going on, and they were like, "Hey, you can sing also," and I was like, "Okay, sure," like because I had been the singer in my other band, and um, so we kept playing, and then in 2015 we switched drummers because our um, drummer was he was like getting into professional wrestling, and he was really good at it, and we were kind of just on like different paths in terms of like
That
ambitions for the band.
that is such a drummer thing to do. Okay, it's like no other member of the band, apart from maybe a singer if he's a beefcake, is gonna leave music for wrestling other than a drummer.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, yeah, he's gonna go. I'm going from hitting things to hitting people. Yeah,
Yeah,
fine. Yeah.
yeah. So there was a different and we were so at the time um when I was first recruited, we were called the Rockers. Uh,
Okay,
yeah,
I'll allow it.
yeah. I mean, it was mostly covers of like all the different bands that we were listening to at the time. Um,
Cool.
and then we switched names to the Generations Army in 2014. Um, and then we switched drummers in 2015. We actually recruited the drummer from the other rock band in this quite small town in the countryside in the south of Sweden. The other band was called Our Rivals. They were called Crucifier, and they had a really good, really cool drummer. And so we got him to join, and we've been the same lineup since. And then we switched names to Eradicated in 2021.
So I know what it's like to be in a band, come from a small town, and nick the drummer from the other band in the town. There's so many. There seems to be so many connections already. That you know, not wanting to focus on what might now seem like a minute piece of history, but at the time, was that kind of like, have you heard? You know, was
How
it
do you mean?
controversial? Was it controversial? Were people like, oh my God, look what they've done?
Yeah, I think it was like you know, were people like a little mad? Like I don't actually know. I would guess yes, probably. But what we ended up doing in the end was like my other band, which was called Royal Rock. We were kind of like were still going in 2012, but we'd kind of lost some energy. Like someone had dropped out. We had recruited a different guy, and like it was like we weren't really going anywhere. Um, and like I feel like what happened was in the end we put everybody who really wanted to kind of keep going in the same band. Like there wasn't any like kind of like, weighing different things or like, this was like
Yeah,
about prioritizing the band. And so
yeah.
we got this like, kind of like ambitious, just like we're in this together, like we're gonna do this kind of, yeah, group.
And I know what you mean. A professional attitude. Just because what is a hobby at the time is a hobby doesn't mean that you shouldn't treat it like a profession because maybe that way it becomes one.
That's very well put. Yeah.
Yeah, good. So you're all getting on the same page, which is absolute. Invariably, this happens with a band as they progress. There's usually one member somewhere who's kind of like still got that, for want of a better phrase, amateur mentality, and everybody else is kind of like desperately trying to pull this person along, and eventually it's kind of like, no, we've got to like go and get somebody else, otherwise this is not going to work.
Yeah. I mean, so we were exactly like small town and I guess this is a pool of like, I don't know, 13 people or something between all these different bands,
Yeah.
and in and out, etc. And in the end, the four of us have stuck with it since then.
So this lineup has been together since 2016, 2015.
Yeah, yeah,
Wow. Okay. So that was the generate. So that was Generations Army.
yes.
and the switch to Eradicated happened in
2021. So that was after
2020.
the COVID pandemic. So it's kind of like, um, nothing was happening, no
Yeah,
shows, no, yeah, like uh, kind of a natural little break after some intense years in 2018, 2019. And we were like, we'd kind of just like grown out of some stuff, including our name. Um, and we thought like, well, we might as well rebrand now because like nothing's happened for a year or two.
the giant reset.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, what kind of and did that involve a big musical change as well?
No, I mean, we started really like going for thrash around 2015, actually.
Right.
Yeah, and if you listen to the Generations Army, that's also like kind of like, old school Metallica, some Slayer, like also other influences, obviously, like but it does have that like that our first album called Still Screaming has this really kind of old school sound. And we were really young and like actually we were quite young when we wrote Descendants as well, but like um we've, evolved, of course, as anyone does if you keep at something, but it's been thrash for a long time. And then of course the
Yeah.
flavor changes, but that's also like the album we're going to release now in May is not going to sound at all like Descendants, but it's
Well,
still
yeah.
thrash in many ways. Yeah.
Well, Descendants has that has a sort of a youthful energy to it,
Hmm.
you know. Um, and yeah, I mean, I really like the album, and congrats on a Swedish Grammy nomination. I
Yeah.
mean, that dude. I know nothing about the Swedish Grammys, but I know that for like the Brit Awards as we have them over here. Well, yeah, a thrash band's not getting a mention on there ever.
We were very surprised. We were very surprised. We were shocked actually. And we're pretty good at managing expectations usually, but this nomination completely blew our minds. Also, like, we were like 16, 17 years old when we wrote that album. It was released in 2023 because of the pandemic kind of just postponing everything and also like us wanting to find a record label to work with. And we had this kind of like um, we had this year of working together with a manager that didn't work out. It ended up being this kind of toxic relationship and like, all these reasons, but it was actually recorded in 2019, which means
Right.
that like we were in high school when we wrote the music for that.
Yeah.
And to be nominated for a Grammy with like, music you've written as a high school student, that's yeah, pretty cool, actually.
Yeah. Ever so slightly. Yeah. And the thing is as well is that ultimately, as we're talking about it, whether you win or not is kind of irrelevant because Grammy nominated, you're in the conversation. That's that's all you can ask for. Um,
Yeah, and we were never going to win, but yeah, it's like
yeah,
it's just uh what's the word? Like yeah, exactly. Like you're in. Like people
yeah.
know about you. Like yeah.
Well, forever. You are a Swedish Grammy nominated artist. That's it.
Yeah, I mean it's just acknowledging something, I guess.
I think what it is it's a kind of it's straight away you think there's a like my eyes were drawn to it straight away. It's a level of quality. It's kind of like oh, okay, right, you know I should
Yeah,
probably
yeah,
listen
yeah.
to this.
Yeah.
Um, that's insane. I mean, yeah, the pandemic fucked everything up for all of us. And yeah, your album was supposed to come out in 2019.
We didn't have a release date or anything, but it was
Ah, right.
recorded in 2019.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Ours did come out in 2019, and then the whole tour and everything afterwards was like in the bin.
Ah,
There you
shit.
go.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's one of those things. But um, so I would imagine that you have been absolutely itching to get this second album out. given that first album is what you would now consider to be like almost a demo for you guys, it's like you must be chomping at the bit. You can't wait for people to hear this second album.
Yeah, and this also took like longer than we wanted to or ex was expected, like for
Ah,
different reasons. So this
what's
has
your
also been
excuse
in the
this
works.
time? No pandemic.
Internal stuff. I'm not gonna
Oh,
get into
fine.
it.
Yeah, fine. Okay. Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's been ready for a while, the music. Also. So now we're just like, yeah, let's go. And now we've been rehearsing it for forever, even though I must say it's really like challenging musically. And I've been getting into practicing a lot recently, which I normally don't do. Like I'm not a practicing kind of guy. I don't like anything that has to do with discipline, if I'm to be honest. But
Ah, we are
uh
so on the same page here. I mean, if there's one thing that I just don't enjoy about being in a band, it's more than anything, it's rehearsing. It's
yeah.
rehearsals.
Well, with the
It,
band, I mean, we practice every week with the band, and that's always great. It gives me a lot of energy. But at
right.
home, well, now I have this studio I can go and practice, which is has been useful, and also it has been fun getting into it. But yeah, no, it's still a tough road ahead. Yeah,
You've still and when you say this is musically it's challenging, and of course you've got to you're going to be singing as well. Um, is I mean, how do you practice that? That's is do you ever are you using your studio and you're in there kind of like practicing both the singing and the playing? Are you practicing like or are you practicing them at different times? How does that work?
yeah. Different. I've been practicing just singing for a bit the last couple of months. Now I've started and some guitar playing on the side. Um, Obviously, when we're rehearsing, I mainly do both, and now I've started doing both as well. It's funny, since I'm so bad at practicing, also historically speaking, my practices, comes from band rehearsals and live shows. And
Right.
so
Yeah.
I have more hours playing and singing than I have playing or singing separate.
Yeah.
So it's funny how like I've been practicing just singing and it's really challenging and I have to focus really hard and I run out of breath um like and then I pick up the guitar and and then I start singing while holding the guitar, and all of a sudden it's much easier. Like it's kind of like because because I
Right.
have the technique based on doing both. It's very
So that's
interesting.
that's kind of counterintuitive because you would expect it to be the other way round. But as you were saying, I mean, I'm just a singer. I say just, but um, uh, it, I don't know. While you were saying it, I was thinking, it does. You were saying singing on your own, you're running out of breath and things like that. I was thinking, yeah. So playing the guitar that helps regulate your singing and helps regulate your breathing. I would imagine.
Yeah, and I think it's just as simple as like you get good at what you practice, and I've
Yeah.
been doing that combo of things more than I've been doing the different parts,
Hmm.
especially like, our material particularly. Yeah.
So what's it like laying down vocals in the studio then?
Um, well, it's different because it's like you're like um
It's
studio
an
is like
it's an unreal environment.
yeah, exactly. I mean, it's like getting a feeling through a microphone, as you very well know, is like you need to you need to give it 110% to kind
Yeah.
of hear it on the other end, right? It doesn't
Yeah.
come out like as good. So basically, all the vocals in studio is like maximum force, right? It's like I'm pressing out as much air
Yeah.
through my lungs as like humanly possible for every syllable on the recording. And
Yeah.
obviously, that's not sustainable live. So it's kind of different techniques.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I remember once a member in the band saying, why don't you sing live like you do in the studio? And I was like, because after two songs, you're going to be a fucking instrumental outfit. That's why.
Yeah.
You know, it's yeah, it is. It's a completely different thing, and yeah, if you're absolutely right, you know, if you want people to believe you, I mean, let's take your first single, British Petroleum. Um, you know, if you're not delivering that like you fucking mean it, then the whole mission fails.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, you got to mean every word. And funnily enough, I thought it was an interesting first single as well because it's kind of revealing a little a punky side to you guys.
Yeah, yeah, totally. And
Yeah,
I mean, I'm totally a punker, at least like, ideologically and like in
yeah,
spirit. Yeah.
same here, same here. Always have been. Yeah. I mean, you know, we currently got a sneaky cover, sneaky cover version of "Just Sit There" by Crumbsuckers up our sleeves. I've given that away now. Um,
Cool.
but yeah, I mean, I was kind of like, oh, okay, right. And then the second single, "Precipice," isn't it?
Hmm.
Yeah. That's a little more maybe what people would have expected. So I'm guessing you wanted to come out with something that would make people go, "Oh, wow, okay, I wasn't expecting this," and then
Yeah,
follow
but
it up with
also,
something, you know, a little bit more expected.
yeah, I mean, we're showing some breadth. Like, I
Yeah,
think, like we wanna play fast and be angry and all of that. But contrast is what makes something stick out. So this
absolutely.
our new album, which is called Wiring of Violence, will kind of have, I mean, I wouldn't go as far as to say that um that there are any slow songs, but there are some slower songs.
Yeah, yeah,
And then
but
there's the like, you know, pedal to the metal, like full speed ahead,
yeah.
like raw energy, and um, yeah, so you get a bit of both.
I
So
mean,
Precipice is more like just like heavy metal, I would say.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. No, and what you're talking about is light and shade. You know, take people on a journey through the album, and you know, and lyrical themes as well. Um, and you know, lyrics are very important to me. I've always considered myself a writer who can sing, not a singer who can write. And what really dismays me more than anything is that thrash came back. It died pretty much. It went into a fucking coma at least, and then and it came back. And I just wish there was lyrically more interesting thrash metal bands around,
Mm.
because some of the themes being covered were covered 30 years ago, and you know the eternal metal themes. If I ever hear another song about being in a casino or fucking all the rest of it, yeah, I'll die. But straight away when British Petroleum came out, I was like, oh my God, like you know, somebody with something to say. Um, it would appear lyrics are important to you.
Yeah. I mean, I'm also like an activist, an organizer, and as we said before, like punker, like the
Ah,
what do you say it?
personal
How to say
stuff.
it?
Personal
Yeah,
stuff. One of
personal
you was
stuff, but
in jail. That's what delayed the album.
exactly. Uh there is a song on the album about activists being sentenced to jail, and I do have friends who have been um to jail, but put that aside, um I, I mean, it sounds cliche, but the world has always mattered to me. Like I've always been interested in what happens in the world, and I've always been interested in like the idea of helping humanity progress, towards whatever, like a, you know, better life for everyone, whatever that means. And um, so I'm like, I might as well. say something if I'm going to sing words, right? And also I think this music kind of music also has a history of like being like political commentary and kind of like sticking it to the establishment and being like what the fuck's wrong with you, right? That's kind of the
Yeah.
essence of like punk and also thrash, which is the punk genre of metal.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. The bastard child of both punk and metal. And I'm old enough to remember when, we had one genre and it was called heavy metal, you know. Um and one of the first to spring out of that, which is the multi-headed hydra that is all of the genres we have now, was thrash metal. And it was kind of like anti-establishment of metal, really, um uh where you had bands putting an effort into creating an image and how they looked, and thrash was very much about, it's all about the music, and no one gives a shit about how you look, although thrash even developed its own sort of uniform of tight jeans, high tops, etc.
You can never get out of it because eventually the reactionary vibe becomes whatever, becomes cemented. It's like
Yeah,
a never-ending
yeah.
cycle.
Oh yeah, it's only a matter of time before today's revolutionary becomes tomorrow's um, asset of the state. Ultimately things change.
Yeah.
Um, but it's good to hear that my suspicions were correct, and that you're trying to achieve something with your lyrics as opposed to just put some words to music.
Yeah. And as I said, like if I'm going to sing about something, it might as well be something important.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So with the album coming out in May, are there touring plans yet?
There are, and I thought I would be able to speak about them, but I can't yet. So
Yeah.
you'll have to be on the lookout for that. We have
Okay.
some shows, like mostly in Sweden, and but the big plans are will hopefully be announced soon. I do suspect, actually, like speaking of um, the world and like bad stuff going on, like
Yeah.
um, you know, if this tour um, gets canceled or whatever, it might be, because of um, economic chaos caused by war and supply chain destruction, and
Well,
everything is getting really expensive. Yeah,
the fact, yeah, well, oil basically, which
yeah,
you know, and so basically your tour of Dubai is off.
yes, I think
Yeah.
so.
Okay. Fine. Um, yeah. So okay. Well, can I push a little further? Is there any plans to come to the island here? Going to make it to the UK at all? Hopefully. No.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
really, really hope so. We really want to go. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So right. Well, let's just leave it at that. Um, are you trying to sync up? Are we talking headline or support or maybe both?
We're open to everything. We're kind of more on a like support stage
Yeah.
uh in our career right now.
Outside of
And
Sweden. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And we'll try to do a headline tour in Sweden at some point, probably this winter. Yeah. But
Yeah.
for the UK, I mean it would be great to come to some festivals next summer.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Well, I'll keep an eye out for you. Um, so, as far as your own personal journey in music, um, which I'm interested because just being a singer, you being a singer and a guitarist, um, are you a guitar player who can sing? Are you a singer who can also play guitar? Then there's the whole lyrical aspect. How do you sort of um not break it all down, but is it like, well, I'm passionate about playing guitar when I'm playing guitar, I'm passionate about singing when I'm singing, I'm passionate about my lyrics when I'm writing my lyrics. How does it all sort of work for you? Is there because it's impossible to kind of, that's 300% is what I'm saying.
Right. Well, I think I've been a guitar player up until maybe recently. I think just like in the last couple of years, maybe I've started to identify more as a singer, but that's not, it's like a guitar player that can sing, or maybe that was forced to learn to sing is probably like what happened. But um,
Fake it till you make it.
yeah, but by now it's like, well, if if my guitar breaks down, or whatever, I break my arm, uh, I'll still do most of what I deliver for a live show, right? Which is the vocals.
Yeah.
Um, the guitar parts I'm playing mostly are being played by the other guitarists. So, and it's like now, it's like, okay, both, like I need to practice both, but if we are honest, like the singing is much more important to get like really good at this point.
Yeah.
So I
Taking
think I've
lessons at
started.
all?
I did when I was in high school. I was in we all went to like music high school, and so we got like I could pick like two instruments. So I picked guitar and vocals, and so I got some singing lessons. But that was a long time ago. But before then, I had like kind of like self learned. Although it was really like those lessons were quite crucial to kind of like I don't know. Um, be able to kind of tour and like not um break my voice. Yeah.
Well, funnily enough, you've read my mind because I'm always fascinated by how, how people maintain their voice. So on the road, you've been at, you haven't found it draining at all. You've mainly been able to keep your voice in good condition.
I haven't been on a like longer, as in like several weeks tour since I think 2019.
Right.
Um, I think now that I've been practicing so much, I would hold up pretty well, but huh, it's always a battle. It's always been a bit of a battle for me, but it's always like worked out in the end. But it's kind of always been at my limits of like where my capabilities are at. It's interesting when you're kind of just like, I don't know, there's some trait where and I think the others as well, kind of we're always just like you just keep pushing yourself so that you're always at your limit. And then when you've like mastered something, then all of a sudden you've, you know, written a new song that's like much harder. And you're like, why did I do this again? Like, but
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. Really. So yeah, pushing yourself. I guess that is well, obviously you're clearly not conscious of that when, you're writing one part. You don't have any limitations. So you can end up pushing yourself to new levels, but that's just kind of a result of pushing yourself on the guitar.
exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. No, I get that. I get that. Um, and honestly, I can honestly say it's always worth um, visiting a singing teacher at least once every 10 years. I speak as somebody who didn't realize um, the bad habits that I'd got into,
Mm, yeah.
um, that I'd picked up, and it was so simple, so simple. I mean, how crazy is this, right? I go on my first singing lesson for years, and she was like, "Okay, I've been listening to your music. I'd like to sing this song. There's some real high notes in it. I want to see how you're hitting those. Blah blah blah." And she stops me halfway through the first verse. I'm like, "Oh God, right, okay. What's happened here?" And she just had this look on her face, like, "What?" She said, "I was wondering when you were going to take a breath."
Mm,
And what I was doing was I was basically taking a breath and then just singing until I didn't have any breath.
right.
Yeah, I know. How basic is that? But I don't know why. I don't know. I don't know at what point I forgot that breathing was quite important. But I was like, oh God, right, okay. And the other thing she did for me was give me warm ups, which I'd never previously done. But more importantly, a warm down, which
Mm,
I found really interesting. And that is a really, really cool way of kind of coming down from the gig as well, because basically you have to relax your voice back down from what it's been doing for the last hour or so.
That's really
Um,
interesting. I've never heard of a warm down, but that makes a lot of sense. But no one's ever mentioned that. That's fascinating.
yeah, yeah, I know, and it's lovely as well because it's you're warming down your vocal cords, but it's literally you have to go like loose in the jaw, and it's all about and just coming back down. And but the thing is as well is you can't help but as you're doing it, kind of your shoulders drop, and it's almost like a meditative experience. It's only 3 minutes, but it's like, yeah, cool. It's like, for me, it's a way of just sort of coming out, helping to dissipate some of that adrenaline as well, that makes you want to go, right, who's got a beer? Um, and basically it brings your voice down from that really high active level down to a speaking level.
Hmm, I'll check that out. That's a great tip.
Well, I'll tell you what I'll do. Seeing as how we're on a Zoom here, I will send you my warm down um, whilst we are on this Zoom,
That's awesome. I can
and
also
that
say
way.
I have gotten a couple of coaching sessions with a professional singer who's really great. But the funny thing is he's completely self-taught. So it's kind of like a completely different thing from like a professional coach. And then also the bass player in my band has been um, doing some coaching with me, which has also been really useful.
Oh,
Particularly
right.
particularly the like stuff around breathing and like, where to breathe and all of that.
Bass player. That's insane. Bass player teaching singing. That's not
Well,
something
he's
I've ever heard of.
no, but he's also he's from the beginning mainly a trumpet player actually. So
Oh, right. Wow. So he knows all about breathing.
yeah,
Oh, now that is, yeah, that's next level trumpet player.
for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's pretty impressive. Okay, I'm impressed with the bass player. You learn something new every day.
You too.
Right. Um, there you go. It should be in the messages.
Awesome. Thank you
So
so much.
download that while we're on as well. Otherwise,
Yeah,
otherwise we'll hang up and we'll both forget and it'll be lost forever. Um, Also, that warm down with my singing teacher has got a lovely, uh, relaxing Scottish voice. So it's like, wow, yeah, it's just, yeah, yeah. Hopefully, it'll come in useful, man.
that's awesome. Yeah. I'm
No
glad I
worries.
hopped on this call so I could get this invaluable information.
Oh yeah, yeah, no worries, man. It's really helped me over the years. And we did a comeback album in 2019, um, I got I got real props for it because back in the day when our albums came out, there was one journalist in particular who always had it in for me and was like, "Oh, the vocals are rubbish, the vocals are rubbish," and then we come our comeback album, and it was like I got loads of praise, which was really weird. And I was like, "Wow," and I was very conscious of when we play these songs live, I don't want people to go, "Oh, like yeah, but can't do it live though," you
Mm,
know, and
yeah,
oh, clearly, trickery in the studio.
for sure.
And so, you know, we're never too old to stop improving, and that's why I went for lessons because I thought, yeah, I can't, I can't go out there and you know not deliver. Um,
That's why I'm practicing, finally.
well, but the thing is like, yes, I could do it in the studio because as you mentioned earlier, you're putting everything into each line, but learning how to be able to then put that all together,
Yeah,
and actually deliver it live, it's a completely different world.
yeah. But it's fun. Like I've been enjoying kind of learning like like trying out like I don't know, just developing like other voice techniques that kind of mimic um what I did in the studio. And I'm sure like once I master it, it will sound as good live, but it's actually like, a different way of singing.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Well, there's getting technical here. There's head voice and chest voice.
Yeah.
And chest voice is when you want to, when you want to deliver it and make a line sound like it does in the studio, so you can add a bit of like booms
Yeah,
and
yeah,
a
yeah.
and mostly it's head voice, isn't it? Mostly it's using your head voice, bypassing the vocal cords, letting everything come off the top of your mouth, and nice open relaxed jaw and projecting, but kind of softly, so you can you know do
Yeah,
it again tomorrow
exactly.
night.
Yeah, everything that's I mean I sing a lot of kind of like uh lower kind of like James Hetfield style vocals, but there is also a lot of kind of like um slightly higher pitched singing that I do as well, particularly on this new album. And I mean everything in the studio is chest voice. Um but the
Yeah,
higher like, what I'm kind of working on now, which I've never really worked on before, is getting that um head voice uh with all the distortion, with all the like
yes,
gravel,
yeah,
and like and that is different challenges. I mean it's challenging in different ways. It's to me I haven't practiced it enough where it doesn't kind of put some strain on my vocal cords that I'm not used to, but I'm sure that will also get better with time.
yeah. Do you use in-ears on stage?
No.
Right, okay. I mean, neither do I. Um, but that's because we haven't really had an intensive touring cycle since we came back. But if we were to, then I think that's something I would have to do.
Yeah, I
Um,
think I mean as a singer, it seems very, very useful. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, because ultimately you're all like because we're dealing with different monitor setups every night. And some nights I'm like, I just turn to the rest of the guys and I'm like, yeah, my voice is gonna suffer tonight because you simply the monitors are just aren't good enough. You guys can all hear each other, but trying to get me, loud enough to actually be of service to me is just not happening. They just
Yeah.
can't take it. And yeah, on a long run, you just can't afford to be at the mercy of shitty monitors somewhere
Mm,
because one night can yeah, can do enough damage to fuck up nights down the road.
right. Yeah, that makes a
Yeah.
lot of sense.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. That's an interesting journey though. The fact that that you're having to um kind of find different parts of your voice and work on that. It's like, you know, I'm actually does presumably like most metal bands, especially thrash, the music comes first.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
does. Yeah.
And then you are writing to what you've written. So you're writing,
Yeah, I mean to me, like we talked about lyrics before, and like um to me, like the lyrics need to be like
match the
I
music.
match, yeah, I mean, yeah, exactly. There's like to me writing lyrics is really a puzzle because I think there are three parts and they all like to my perfectionist mind they all need to work out. Like the first is it has to it has to sound good with the music like rhythmically. It needs to be rhythmically satisfying. The second is um, the words need to be like cool words. And and not also not over the top. Like it's a fine balance between like too soft or too cringe or whatever. Like
Yeah.
and then the third thing is like it needs to um say something, like deliver a message that I think it's important and can stand for. So really, when you put when you put all of those three components together, like there are a lot of uh, there are a lot of lines where it comes down to like there's only one word available that like sounds good with the music is, you know, a cool enough word and says what I want to say. Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
And the thing is, as well as those, the lyrics have got to match the personality of the music as well.
Mm,
It's it's all got to tie together because the lyrics
yes.
determine the theme, and this is to me what is essentially important is that just because we're playing thrash metal doesn't mean that the rules of songwriting have gone out the window. No, they're
Yeah.
exactly the same for us as well, which means it's all got to be all got to be cohesive. It's
Yeah.
all got to work together, and you've got to have that theme running right throughout. But perfect example actually is British Petroleum. The music says "fuck you."
Yeah.
What the fuck are you doing? And the lyrics say "fuck you." What the fuck are you doing? It's
Yeah. Yeah.
that it works as a cohesive message. You know,
Totally. Yeah.
and that's so important.
Yeah. No, yeah, exactly. It's like when I hear the music for the first time, it's like they're, already there, you kind of lock into some sort of like um what's, you know, maybe what am I saying, but even more importantly, how am I saying it? What's the like um
Yeah,
what's the message, not in terms of like words or theme, but as you say, like in terms of like emotion or kind of like
do you know what?
what's the am I yeah.
This is the perfect interlude for the word vibe.
Mm, yeah,
What's the vibe? You know,
exactly.
like,
Yeah.
and which you get. I mean, sometimes I'll have lyrics that are pre-written that I will match to music. Sometimes we'll write as we go, and it'll be like a bit of music. Then okay, I've got an idea for some vocals, right? And you know that's how we wrote the most recent album, which is weird because it's never worked like that before. But it was awesome. Um, but sometimes, yeah, I can like hear the music and go, I know I've got a set of lyrics for this.
Yeah.
Like it's just like, yeah, I know what will work with this. And again, I think that personality of the music, that vibe of the music that will then determine actually this is the route to go down.
Yeah. Yeah, totally. It's kind of like you hear the music and it tells you like, am I telling a story here or am I just going, fuck you and to whom? And like kind of like,
Yeah.
it's like two different but important like yeah,
Yeah.
a distinction. Yeah.
Yeah, and you do, and also because you're good at doing the fuck you thing doesn't mean means you need to use it sparingly.
Right.
Yeah, less is more and all that. You don't want to weaken the message by continually being angry about something, about something else. It's like, okay, yeah, we get it.
I think for like this album also like um because Descendants was a concept album. I wrote that as kind of like um, more as storytelling, telling about this kind of um, dystopian future, like timeline, like and uh, really just a description of that, and also kind of events that unfold. This album, Wiring of Violence, is really just like contemporary commentary. It's just like I'm just
Right.
looking
Yeah.
out at the world and like saying like, hey, this is going on, this is going on, this is going on, this is going on, all these different crises. Like not as something like that is like coming together, although everything's happening at once, but just as like different things, like all the different conflicts going on. And I feel like just like hearing a riff or hearing a part of a song, and like looking at the world and being like, hey, this sounds like this particular thing going on.
Yeah. 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 No, I absolutely get it. I absolutely get it. Um, and I say it's an interesting title actually, because titles again for me are really, really important. Um, sometimes, lyrically, I'll come up with I'll either come up with or I'll have made a note of a phrase or something I've heard somewhere, and I'll be like, that's a title. And that will then inform, the rest of the lyrics. And I think song titles are incredibly important, and album titles for that matter. Um, where does Wiring of Violence come from?
It comes from so actually like there was one song, the song called The Wiring of Violence, where uh I didn't really know what I was going to write about. So what I just talked about, that did not happen. I didn't have like an
Right,
event in
okay.
mind.
You
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
lied to me.
Exactly. So in this instance, I was like, I don't know, like to me, like writing lyrics is fucking hard because of all those like criteria that I mentioned before. And it's a long process, like especially when I wanted to, be really good. And so I was like, what do I do? And Ragnar, the guitarist, he was like, well, like, you're into like reading articles and like whatever about stuff going on. Why don't you make like um basically like write an essay on a topic and then make the lyrics out of that? And I was like, okay, interesting. And
Hmm.
I was listening to this uh podcast, and um there was this episode about um this uh this like what's it called? Mass shooting incident in the US a couple of years ago. I mean, there are of course many, but
Yeah.
one particular that they um dove into in that episode that was really interesting and has a and so I read more about this case. Like I basically read um an article based on like a scientific paper. Um, and basically like that whole story comes from there. Like this is a real story depicted, and um, like wiring of violence actually comes from that article. So it's about this veteran who um, kills all these people. He kind of just like goes rogue, and he's never been to war. Um, but they find out like well, after he then kills himself, and they slice open his brain and study it, they realize that there's all these kind of like um, small like what's it called? Like um,
Neurons.
yeah, basically, like he's had brain damage from military training. So not from going to war, but just from
Right.
being in the army training from all
Just from
these.
being wired for violence.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, in this case, it's the grenade explosions that have like so he suffered um like sound damage basically to his brain
Right.
and gotten PTSD and all kinds of stuff, all kinds of trauma responses. And um yeah, so um the like neurological pathways in the brain that like regulate normally all these things, like um, violence impulses, for example. Those have been damaged. Um, yeah, so
Right.
that's where that comes from.
Cool. Cool, man. Oh, that's really interesting. The idea of, yeah, writing an essay as well, and then kind of like, extracting from that. That's a really, really interesting idea. Um, yeah, I haven't heard of that at all. You've got
Yeah,
some
no,
you,
yeah, and me neither. But it was a cool project, and just like it's such a I don't know, it's such a like explicit story that's real and like science and all of this, but it's also like I don't know, it just implicitly says a lot about kind of our world and about our society. I thought it was just like a really really interesting kind of message
Yeah.
found in all of that. And then all these cool words and phrases are like straight out of that article, actually. Um, uh, like I think,
It's
yeah,
it's
it's from the
great when you
second.
can it's great when you can find something like that and it's kind of inspiring.
Yeah, exactly. I think it's the second verse of that song. Shredded connections deep in the brain, blood vessels battered and scarred. Um, Substance abuse, no control of your mood, paranoia, delusions, fear, anger, wiring of violence, badly frayed from the exposure to thousands of blasts. That all of that's just like almost straight out of the article. And
Wow.
it's metal as fuck.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's bring it back down to a base level. It's metal as fuck. Let's not forget that. Well, look, Elvin, I've really enjoyed talking to you today. It's been great, and thank you for being so generous with your time.
Yeah, it's been really fun. Yeah, thank you for having me.
Cool, man. Now, don't go anywhere because I've got something else to tell you. But
Great.
for now, thank you very much.